Hello, welcome magical humans. It is I, Maggie Rose Cunningham, here to help you to sow the seeds of a lunar cycle ahead filled with panache or cunning or grace or joy or whatever other describey words you would like to bring to our lunar month ahead. We're coming at a slightly later time for Magic in Mind this week. I have been at the spa all day, which was delicious. Been in Glastonbury doing wonderful rituals with the Nornir, who we are going to be working with for the remainder of this month. This launches, well, I suppose Saturday really launched for those in person, a month of work with the Nornir here in the Hearth Space. More to follow on that. But today we are going to be doing our new moon seership and intention setting circle. And we're going to be feeling into what's present for us. Now, the new moon doesn't come until the 9th of February. So it's the 5th today, so we've got 4 days. So there's a little bit of time for some reflection, some introspection, some, reaping of the previous month is what we can be working on, as well as any releasing that you've got still to do. So for those of you who are in Sooner Star Wheel, you've got your releasing meditation that you can use to do that release work before we have a beautiful new moon in Algiz coming up. So Algiz is the rune of, it's the rune of guidance. It's the rune of spirit guidance and protection. It's going to be, I think, really powerful and really potent and really helpful for us as well at this time. We're in a stage at this point, I think, when we're being called even more strongly to stand in our power, to be seen, maybe to be visible, which can be challenging. And so having this time with a new moon that draws in protection, that draws in spirit guidance, can be very, very powerful for us. We're going to be we're going to go through some of the planetary movements. We're going to go through the huge amount of detail because we have Sooner Star Wheel for that. But we'll go over the moons, we'll go look at the solar movements, and I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive for you into Loki's chariot, which is Saturn, and Urd's chariot, which is Uranus. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to do our stay and play session. For those of you who are here and have joined me live, hello, welcome. Hi Maggie, lovely to see you. Nice when people say hello. If you're joining me live, and I can see there are quite a few of you, say hello in the chat box. And I'm going to ask you, actually, well, hold on a second, I'm just going to find the Algiz rune. For people who are new to the runes, when we talk about the new moon in Algiz, we mean that the lunar chariot, the chariot of the moon, will be in the sphere of the rune Algiz on the day of the new moon. So it just brings forth that strong energy of Algiz, and that carries us forward into the month. It's like the scene setting for the month. So it's our Algiz rune there. I'm going to ask you a question which you might find quite random, but it's actually very important. It's very important for the work we're going to be doing with the Nornir, and it's also very important for a big planetary transition that is coming with Urd's chariot, not this month, but we're getting ready, and Loki's chariot as well, to a certain extent. And you might want to have a little bit of a play with this during the session today, but you might want to go back to this. This is why I'm giving you a bit of a heads up, so that we've got until May for Urd's chariot when it makes its transition. And it's, if you feel into maybe those sort of hopes and dreams, or the intentions, or the challenges, or the things that feel hard and difficult, that you feel a sense of maybe you're a bit afraid to commit to, or to take the first step towards, because it feels so big. Or maybe it feels like some of the pieces are outside of your control. So you say, I want to do this, but all of the circumstances outside are against me. They're ranged against me with this. So I'm afraid that if I started, I might fail. And this is important. This is important for us, just as human beings. It's also important in the Northern tradition. For those of you who've done the symbol rite with me, you will know that we do the symbol rite. We do it with our drinking horns. Here we go, a lovely drinking horn. And at the end, the last piece of the symbol rite is the creation of an intention, a promise or an oath that you make that you want to keep, because it's a process of luck building. It's a process of when you fulfill your oath or your commitment or your promise, you attract Haminia or Megan or life force, that sort of life force energy to you. You become a magnet for luck is the way that we might call it. And the people who witnessed you taking that oath also benefit from you achieving what it is that you've set out to do. But that entails an element of risk. And in the Northern tradition, the idea is that if you don't fulfill the oath, then you go on a spiral of bad luck. And we look at this a lot more in Awaken. That's why I'm doing it quite a short, brief summary of this at this point. There are ways that you can work with that, and we can do luck building through it. But there's this risk there, and this is part of the adventure of life, isn't it? Is to sort of say, I'm going to try, I'm going to stretch. Now, we don't take a symbol oath and say, I'm going to do the thing that I already know it's going to be really, really easy to do, because that's not, the gods will see that, won't they? The Nornir will see that. We take something that is going to be a little bit of a stretch. So what I'm going to invite you to do through the next few days, as we come towards the new moon, is to feel into those things that you say, yes, there is real fear for me. Maybe my energy levels aren't strong enough, or maybe my, I know I've been sick, I might get sick again, or, there's all of these ranged circumstances that are out there. And then to say to yourself, okay, what one step can I take towards that? Towards the thing that I can feel in my heart that I know that I want. What one step can I take towards that? And it can be a very, very small step. It can be a piece of magical work. It can be a symbol or a sign that you decided, I'm going to wear this to affirm my intention. It can be I'm going to speak to this person, or I'm going to reach out to find out more about this, or I'm going to do my research about this. So it's literally just, how can I energetically set myself in the direction of that intention in a way that feels manageable. So that's my invitation to you, is to say, what might my first step be? What might that first thing be? I'm going to leave that with you. If there's anything that comes through to you and you're here on the live or you're watching the replay, absolutely very powerful to post it into the group, to have witnesses to say, yes, I want to do that, I want to achieve that. So you absolutely can post to get that witnessing and get that support. Now, I can see that there are comments. It says there are 8 comments, but I can't see any of the comments, so bear with me. I've seen Maggie's, and then I haven't seen any more after that, and that'll be deeply distressing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a few moments just to think about that and ponder that, so I can see if I can get the comments up on my phone, because I want to be able to see them. It might be very upsetting for me not to be able to see them. Oh, but we don't want me to be hearing myself when we do that. Let's have a look. Comments. There we go. So, hi, Pamela, lovely to see you. Kristen, I'm happy you can join live today as well. Lisa, and we've got Pamela Ross and we've got Pamela Ashley. Lovely to see you. Yes, it is good. It's great to be here and to have you there, Pamela, as well. So I'm going to try and keep up with the comments this way, and hopefully Zoom is going to catch up with me, because once we've been through our planetary movements, and I've told you a little bit about the energy of the month and what we're going to be working with, we will do our stay and play. It's going to be difficult for me to do stay and play, which is when you tell me what rune you're working with at the moment. Let's see if there's a little mini reading for you, if I can't see what the runes are. So I will do my absolute best to get those working for me at the moment. Hopefully I can see all of them. So we shall see how it goes with that. But apologies, it's not coming up for me. So, where are we then? Yes. What are you afraid to make a commitment to? And how can you take one step towards that? Is the question. There's a little bit of retrospect there, isn't there? Because there's a little bit of looking back, and it might be actually that it's not even the last month. It might be something that you thought, I wanted to do this last year, or it's been a big burning dream for a really long time. And to bring that forward. But what I love you to do as our second piece is, we don't want to just be like, oh, why haven't I done the thing? Let's also do a bit of celebrating. So what is it that you're celebrating at the moment? What are you celebrating? What would you like to offer to the group so that you have a bit of a witnessing of what you're celebrating? My celebration is that I can't flip sexily through my copy of Sooner Star Wheel, because I don't have any left. So I'm going to get some more. But so yes, I've got it on my screen over here because I've got a little electronic version of it. But Sooner Star Wheel, those of you all know, I've been running a subscription for Sooner Star Wheel for people to do the meditations and get support with connecting with your planets each month. But now we have a hard copy journal to go along with it. So those of you who do have a hard copy of your Sooner Star Wheel journal, I would love to know how you are travelling with it. And obviously I'm struggling a bit to see the comments, but either here live or if you come and join me in the replay, let me know, because that's my celebration, is that people have seen it and they've gone, oh, that is so beautiful. Can I have a copy? And I'm like, yes, of course. Have this copy that was mine, and now I will offer it to you instead. And I don't have any left at this point, so I'm getting another one. But that is lovely, and it's really lovely that that people are enjoying it and loving it. So that is all good. So yes, let me know how whether that's something that you have also been enjoying, and let me know, what are you celebrating? What are you celebrating? What are you really proud of from the previous lunar month that you would like to offer to the group and celebrate in this space? And I will keep looking at the comments, and hopefully I will be able to see some of them as we go through. Lovely. So let me tell you a little bit more about what we're going to be doing through the course of this month. I'm going to be doing some events, as you know. So those of you in the newsletter, you will have received some my monthly Your Month Ahead with Megan Rose. It's there. There's lots of events and things going on. So in the hearth space, we're going to be working with the Nornir. We're going to be working with Urt, Forthandi and Skuld. We're working particularly with the energy of the healer, is where we're coming from with them. So that's the lens that we're going to be looking at them and exploring the concept of wholeness and how the Nornir can support us in moving forwards into wholeness. And I'm exploring this idea of how is it that we can know ourselves to be fully whole, and yet we can also know that there's more that we need to heal at the same time. That there's what people will say, when you step into healing and you step into wholeness and you embrace all of the stuff, you do all of the thing, and you accept everything just as it is. I don't need to fix myself. I don't need to change myself. Is one very powerful stance that you can take for yourself in healing. It's to say, yeah, I am great just as I am. Very powerful, very healing, and yet at the same time to hold concurrently with that I'd like to do some ancestral work on this, and I can feel that I was activated. I met somebody and I was really activated this energy in me that I need to do something with. How can those two things occur at the same time? And the Nornir have been really supporting me in understanding that a little bit more. And Forthandi in particular saying, in the present moment with Forthandi, the Norn of that which is, she was saying, in the present moment you are always whole. That felt good, it felt good when she said that. And then she's saying, whereas Urt, that which was, and Skuld, that which will be or must be, are flanking Forthandi at this point. And they are, what they govern is in many ways untouchable to us. We're always in the present moment, aren't we? We're always in the present moment. And yet the present moment is always connected with the past, the meanings that we make, the decisions that we make, the way that we step into the present moment each time comes from the past, and the future is always colouring the actions that we decide on. I was talking about that commitment, the thing that I'm afraid of. What I can guarantee you is that if you look at something and you go, wow, this is really, really big, and I'm a bit afraid to step forward into it, and I don't really know where to start, the only thing I can guarantee you is that if you don't start, definitely won't happen. That's you interacting with the future in that moment. And so that's where the space for healing comes from the past and from the future, is what they were saying. So I quite like that. So that's sharing a little bit of a tidbit of what they have shared with me. We're going to be working with them. We're going to be working with your personal Nornir, how you connect with your personal Nornir. We've got Urt, Forthandi and Skuld are the big Nornirs, they're the big hitters. But they have a whole thousands, millions, billions of Nornir who work with us as individuals to support us in our fates. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that. We're going to look at the planetary movements today, and then we're going to do our stay and play. So I've mentioned already the new moon in Algiz here. So this is this guidance and protection new moon, and this is going to be important for us. It's this sense of connecting with our spirit guides. It's one of the reasons that I wanted to work with the Nornir this month, and to do that work with our personal Nornir as well, to allow us to connect in with our destiny, our fate, those who guide and support us in our fate. I'll talk a little bit more about that with Urad's Chariot as well. And then the other planetary movement which we are going to be working with the moon is the full moon. And so the full moon is going to be in Ansu. So Algiz is the rune of guidance and protection, and when we move to our full moon, it is a full moon in Ansus. So this is about expression and ecstasy and becoming the voice. It's almost like there's a receiving that knowledge that comes from inside, or that comes from spirit, that quietness where we listen, comes with the Algiz rune in the new moon. And then with Ansus, I'm just looking for my Ansus card, we move into an expressive piece, where we express that the in-breath and the out-breath seem to be very present during the course of this lunar month. I don't know why the runes are being so difficult to, sometimes they just pop up immediately, other times they make me flick through the whole pack before I can find the rune that it is that I wanted to work with you. There we go, right at the bottom. There's our Ansus rune here. Rune of Odin, rune of ecstasy, the rune of the mouth, the rune of the estuary, sort of place where the fresh water and the salt water meet. This like really fertile ground for change and possibility. And this is important because we're moving from a place of the healing, of receiving, and of maybe having a bit of uncomfortableness over the last 6 months, and I'm going to have another transformational process, into a doing. Moving into, there's a real doing energy. There's a window of opportunity coming up over sort of May until September-y time. We have a real opportunity to make a huge difference for ourselves and in our lives. So that's the moon. The other chariot which we work with very actively is the sun. So the chariot of the sun. This is Suna's chariot. So Mani, the charioteer of the moon, and Suna, the charioteer of the sun, or soul, often called as well, are brother and sister. And they govern a lot of what is very present to us and very visible to us, along with Odin's chariot and Frigg's chariot, and sort of govern the conscious realm that we're aware of, is what they will look at. So Suna's chariot is going to move from Algiz, where it is at the present. So you can see that as we have our new moon in Algiz, the sun is also in Algiz, which is why it's an incredibly powerful and potent time to be connecting with the guidance of spirit at this new moon. And then it will move into Tewaz. Go. So it's moving into the second eight. So it's moving out of some of the more the challenger runes, not always bad, the challenger runes that shape us and form us, that come through that winter season in the northern tradition, into the last eight, which is that maturity and that synthesis with Tewaz here. There is a sense of aligned action, of saying, I've done that inner journey. Now, this is going to become more and more important. I've done the inner journey. I know what I need to do. Now I need to do it, is what the Tewaz rune offers us. And I've missed one out. Yes. So between Algiz and Tewaz, at the end of this month, we have Suelo. So Suelo is the rune of the sun. It's Suna's chariot in Suelo. It's also a very powerful time. It's a knowing time. It's that transition time from the guidance into the, yes, that feels true to me in my heart. Yes, I'm okay to do that. Spirit has asked me to do that. Do I want to? No? Northern tradition, we're allowed to ask that question. I mean, all traditions we're really allowed to ask that question, aren't we? But it's important. I feel as if the deities, the Nornir, the spirit guides, they do give us an opportunity to go, does that feel right to me? Yes, it does. No, or no, it doesn't. So there's our Suelo in there. So there's the guidance received from above, below, wherever you want to feel that guidance comes from, like that intuition that seems to be almost like a download from somewhere else, comes in, then it moves into the heart, and the heart goes, do I resonate with this? Suelo, do I resonate with this? Is this calling me forward? Is this for me? And then we move into Tewaz, into the action if it does. You might think about it a little bit like, if any of you have done the, what's her name? I'm not going to be able to remember her name. I can feel that it's not going to come. Anybody who's done any work on creativity, on how the muse comes, the creative muse comes to us. It's really annoying me because she's actually in the UK at the moment doing some talks, but yes, somebody will probably put it in the chat box and say, I know exactly who you mean. And the person who talks about creativity all the time. And it's like an idea will come to us is the way that we might think about it in modern psychology, but the northern peoples might have thought about it as being a Valkyrie or a Nornir or a Odysseus. Now the Greeks might have thought of it as being a muse or a personal genius will come and say, here is an amazing idea to be brought into the world. You look like the ideal person to do that. And either you will or you won't. And if you don't, at some point that idea or that inspiration will move on to somebody else. And I quite like that as an idea. It makes the idea of it less heavy somehow. It's almost like these ideas, projects, new things that need to come are looking for the perfect partner. Looking for the perfect partner. And in that moment, maybe you were the perfect partner and then life moves on and you go, I'm not. So you can do some cord cutting work to release things where you made a commitment. We talked about the commitment piece, and say, actually, for me, and again, it might be that when you do your list and you say, here are some commitments that I made a long time ago and I haven't followed through on them and I'm feeling really bad about them. It may be that the first powerful step you need to take is actually to cut those ties to that commitment. So I'm going to let you go. And maybe they need to float off somewhere else and find somebody else to go and do that. Or maybe they'll come back, but they'll come back new and fresh. They won't come to past you who is gone, who's not part of your wholeness anymore. They might meet you again in your newer self. You could about like the book that you wanted to write, or the garden that you wanted to plant, or the amazing chef that you wanted to become, whatever that is. Sometimes we have to let go of that dream so that it can go out and find itself again, as that we can find ourselves too. So that might be your most powerful step, and that Suelo allows us to do that, and Tewaz allows us to do that a little bit as well. So the sun is talking to us very much at this point about aligned action, about taking action in alignment with your truth. Let's have a look at what people have said. Candy says, I love hearing about the Norns. Pamela says, healing in wholeness. Yeah, I like that, healing in wholeness. So Lisa says, I'm celebrating my birthday on Thursday and have my copy of Sooner Star Wheel. And I got to see Lisa in person at the weekend, which was amazing. Brilliant. Happy birthday, Lisa. Maggie says, I love my journal. I've been working on it, what brings me joy and what I'm learning. And Keith Caddies is also saying, I love my journal. Being able to see repeating runes is intriguing. It is, isn't it? And you can see it more when it's visual in front of you, I think. And you can go, wow, yeah, Alga's is really, really potent here right now. So, keep those coming. That's wonderful. Thank you. And I'll just keep on looking at my phone. It's going to be a bit tricky when we get to the stand play, but we'll make it work, people. I'm going to make it work. Okay, so moon, sun. So I'm not going to go through all of the planetary movements for this month. You can have a look at them. Obviously, we've got Sooner Star Wheel. They come up on Instagram as well, like on the day. So if you want to prepare and you're ready to work at a deeper level with runic astrology, then come and join us Sooner Star Wheel. But you can also just join me on Instagram, and we post them in half space as well, so you can see them, start to get a little bit of taste of the planetary movements as they come up. But what I wanted to talk about was two quite powerful planetary movements that are coming up that I think will be very impactful for us. And these are some of the outlier planets. So we've got, I mentioned the sun and the moon, and Odin's Chariot and Frigg's Chariot, which govern like the conscious mind. We can feel them interacting with us quite powerfully and quite strongly. Then we have Thor's Chariot and Tyr's Chariot, which tend to work at slightly more at the subconscious level. They can often be about like family programming and things that we like, values. The higher, I want to say it's not right. Sun, Moon, Frigg, Odin tend to work with vision a bit more. This way, we're directing in this way. Once we move into Frigg, Thor, Tyr, Frigg's a bit like a bridge between these. They start to talk about more about our values that are held. Often they're deep-seated and we don't even know we hold them. So they pull those out of us. And then we have Loki's Chariot, which is again another binding planet, a little bit like Frigg's Chariot, can span vision and values. And then Loki's Chariot can span the subconscious and the collective consciousness that the outer planets tend to govern. Loki's chariot is Saturn. It's a different energy to Saturn. It's an interesting energy because Loki contains within him the trickster who frees and who evades the rules. But he is also known, his name means like tangler or knot maker. When you think about Saturn, those of you who work with like classical astrology or the zodiac astrology will know that Saturn is seen as being sort of binding, containing energy. And people say, well, Loki, that seems a little bit weird. But what a lot of the northern deities do when they're associated with the planets is that they bring both sides. They bring like the shadow or the duality of the energy of containment. There is no containment if there isn't the notion of freedom and wildness within it. So Saturn, or Loki's chariot, holds that the conflicting, co-creating energy of containment and binding, and like trickery and freedom finding and like finding the way through. And so, he can support us in going, well, sometimes we need to create those boundaries for ourselves, and we just need to say no, and we need to recognize where we've become tangled, or we need to create those knots. Those like, yes, I'm committed to this and I'm going to follow through on it, even though it might not be what I really want to do. I made a commitment to do it, and I will. Loki goes out, and when the gods are in trouble, they will say, Loki, can you help us? And he does. He goes out and he does the thing, and he often takes the decisions that they don't want to take, because he knows that the thing needs to be done, in whatever way it needs to be done. So he sort of frees them by making them do the things they don't want to do, if that makes sense. I need to move through this, I need to get through it in some way or other, I need a resolution. So he will say that, and he will use all of his skill set to do that. So Loki has been in Suelo for a long period of time. These outlier planets, they stay Loki tends to hang out in one rune for about a year. So this is, these are important when these transitions take place. And that's been quite a trickster energy. He was in Algas before, and that was frankly horrible. He was there, sticking his tongue out at Heimdall on the Rainbow Bridge, I'm not going to lie. Suella, there was a little bit more of like finding the fun. There was a certain sense of which, almost like a resignation in some ways, where life can get so difficult that you're just like, bring it on, it's fine, I can take it, it's fine. Let's just laugh through this right now. A little bit of that, a little bit of dancing around, finding way through. The trickster energy came through quite strongly with Suelo, but he's going to move into Tewaz this month. And again, with Loki, what we tend to have to do is we have to say, okay, well, how does the energy of Loki, the energy of the trickster, the energy of the binder, of the tangler, work with the rune that he's currently in? And when you first feel, those of you you know your runes well and you know your planets well, let me know. When you think Loki in Tewaz, you're like, oh, that sounds like an excellent combination. Or are you thinking, oh dear? Now, I'm going to be honest, I was, oh dear. But I did a lot of deep meditation on this, and you'll see more of this when it comes up. Why are they hiding from me? There we go. Tewaz. Here we have the Tewaz rune. Tewaz rune, it's straight to the point. It is not tied back. If you imagine, what I saw first when I saw Loki in Tewaz was I imagined an arrow being shot. The arrow's being shot, brilliant. And then almost like a cartoon arrow where it's flying beautifully, and then you see that somebody's tied a knot to it, and there's a little woolen thread behind it, and it goes phew, and then it goes and just stops. That's what I saw, and I thought, well, that's not good. Yeah, was basically where I was going with it. But when I felt deeper under that, there is a lesson, there is a calling to this that is important for us as we move into this energy that will be with us through the course of this year. So underneath the things that bring Loki and Tyr into conflict, remembering, for example, that the Fenris wolf is Loki's child, and at first Tyr and the Fenris wolf are inseparable. They form a bond. I think about Loki being the knot maker. And Tyr has to, in the moment that he binds the Fenris wolf, possibly for the first time in his existence, he has to lie. He has to take on a tool, some of the toolkit of Loki, in order to trick the Fenris wolf, this god of truth. He comes up against something that says there is this truth and then there is this truth that is more important. There's the safety of the world, the ongoing longevity of the world. The wolf's going to eat all of the worlds. I had this friendship and that was really important to me. And yet I'm still going to have to bind the Fenris wolf. And obviously, those of you who know I speak about this a lot. I find this an incredibly powerful and very important learning story that I go back to again and again and again, and it reveals more truths. And he decides, okay, if anyone's going to bind Fenris, like my best friend, bearing in mind that I know it needs to be done, it will be me that does it. It will be me that bears the punishment, if that's what you want to call it. The Fenris wolf bites off his arm, basically. But there is something there about the way in which Tyr takes on part of the nature of Loki that made me realise that although Loki as well would be conflicted, this is my child, this is horrific, and Loki himself is bound later on in a horrible separate story. But he also understands why Tyr needed to do it. I think he also understands why it was that he had to be bound as well. Does it make it easy for him? No. But he understands why it needs to happen. So there are some deep teachings here. And underneath it all, I found a kernel of shared truth that Tyr and Loki offer to us right now. And I'm going to give it to you with a quote, which is said to be a quote from Oscar Wilde. It's actually, no one is sure that it is, because no one knows where it came from and if it is his, but it'd be nice if it was Oscar Wilde's. And you probably heard it before. So it's be yourself, because everybody else is already taken, is the quote, which I really like. Be yourself, everybody else is already taken. It's quite liberating in some ways, isn't it? And I feel as if Tyr and Loki both share that, and they say, through this time, the most powerful act that you can take is to be vigorously, vehemently, passionately, powerfully yourself. And if you do that, that arrow that would otherwise have been pulled back will fly free. Because that's where we move beyond the constraints of what other people think about us, or the challenges that are there in the world and things like that, into a place where we say, where's my alignment with my own truth? How can I step forward into this moment in truth? How can I be myself in this moment in truth? And as long as I'm doing that, I'm doing my best. And Tyr and Loki will both see me. They will see me, and they will see me reaching for my most heroic self, my most heroic purpose in this moment. And that's what I need to do. So this is the teaching I think that Loki will be offering us. And I say that knowing that there will be occasions when I'm absolutely not going to be myself. I'm going to turn up and I'll be terrible and not myself, and I'll fall into all of the traps that I have in the past. And then my arrow will do this. And then I go, well, let's go find another arrow. So to all of us, sometimes we're going to get it wrong. Sometimes our arrows are going to fall, and then we're going to launch another one. So before we talk about Urd's Chariot, let's have a look and see what people have said in the chat. Very frustrating that I can't see all of your ones. Candice says, I love that quote, Loki and Tayware. Sounds interesting. It does sound interesting, Candice. Good, I'm glad you're only looking for the norms. Maggie says it makes so much sense. You're the person you have to live with in the end. Yes, no matter who else you have to let go of. Yes, that's a really good way of looking at it, I think. However strong his bond with the Fenris wolf is, and it is, Tyr will live with himself for eternity. If you believe in reincarnation and the evolution of the soul and all of those things, but you're your own travelling companion at the end of the day. You have to be able to live with yourself. Absolutely have to. Okay, so planetary movements, and then we're going to do our stay and play. So I mentioned Urd's Chariot. So Urd's Chariot isn't going to move until May, but I wanted to mention it now because Loki's Chariot takes about a year to move through each of the runes. Urd's Chariot takes about 3.5 years to move through each of the runes. So it's quite an important point when she moves. And Ud, who, when I think about Ud's chariot and Uranus, this is this place of the planets of classically, it can mean sort of innovation and change and things that have to, they're like being pushing forward. So it feels a bit more schooledy, the Norn of that which must be. But to me, it's almost like all of the Norns encompassed within this one planet. But Ud reminds us that the energy is from the past. We're sitting in the present, on top of the past, reaching for the future. So just, it's my chariot is basically what she says. And we had a little taster. So we've been in Largus for a long period of time. It's been a time of healing and cleansing and rebirthing and going into the place of the realms of death and their subconscious and the hidden and dredging up ancestral stuff and deeply held challenges and all of those things. Yeah, you're all going, yeah. As well as the life force and the fertile new world and all of these things and stuff growing and all possibility and holding on to the ideals. All of that has been there with Largus. The fertilizing waters, the cleansing waters, the waters as a gateway between the realms of life and death have been there, and we've felt this. A lot of us have felt either a calling towards deep healing and transformational work, or we've just been thrown into it. Let's be honest, we've just been pushed directly into the well of weird and gone, oh, here I am, great. So that's been happening. We had a very short window of time last year when we moved into Ingus. So Ingus is the next room we're going to be moving into. And this was a taster, and it was really powerful time. I remember talking about it at the time. See if I can find Largus and Ingus while I'm talking. So Ingus is the rune of the seed. Here we go. We've got this seed. I want you to imagine a seed under the earth, waiting for the optimal conditions to go. I'm going to grow. And one of the things it needs is water, obviously. So you can think about this Largus period as being a preparation for the Ingus period coming. Largus, is it gonna come to us easily? Here we go. So here's the Largus dream that we've been. It's been flowing. It's been a bit choppy, maybe a bit annoying sometimes, but it's been powerful. We've done all of the stuff. We had a period of time in Ingus, and at that time I said to those of you who were with me at that point, that we were experiencing a time when the blueprint for what was to come had already been set. That whatever it was that we had decided we were going to do with our lives, or the energy that we were going to inhabit, or the amount of healing work that we had done, or the intentions that we had set for ourselves, or anything like that blueprint for life, collectively, like sort of humanity, had been set. And at that point, it was a bit like, wow, it was very cool, but it was also very like, I looked out at the world and I went, well, we're in trouble. Let's be honest, we're in trouble right now. Right? And then Ud went retrograde, and we went out of Ingus back into Largus, and it was almost like she was saying, I'm going to give you a bit more time because you don't seem to be really on board with the fact that a new paradigm for how humanity is going to exist on Earth, or not exist on Earth if you don't get this right, is being set right now. So I'm going to give you a bit more Largus time, okay? That's sort of what it felt like, So all we can do as individuals is to say, if I'm sowing a seed for the way that I want the world to be, for the legacy that I want to bring, to the energy I want to bring into a space, for the what I want the people around me to receive through the course of my lifetime. Ud does these things. These are big things, that she's talking about here. I might not be able to fix what's going on out there, but I can do my bit. And there is, to a certain extent, I think, important for us to remember that, because it can be very difficult to look out there and go, wow, I can't fix all of the things. No, but you can do your part, and that's what Ud is asking for us for at this point. So this is why following this Tewas path, being in integrity, standing in our power, doing the wholeness thing is so important at this point, because when we move into Ingus, Ud's chariot is going to then stay in Ingus for a long time. And during that time, you can think about it as like the daily actions that you take become the habits, that you repeat over and over and over again. You're setting that blueprint, and that blueprint for how we're going to be in the world is going to last for generations, as far as I can tell. You know? So not to put too much pressure on you at this point or anything like that, but that's what Ud wanted me to talk about. It's one of the reasons why we're doing the Nornir for the rest of the month as well. You know? So we can get as much support from them as we can for this piece. So I'm going to have a look at the chat. And I'm also going to tell you, actually, before I do that, I'm going to tell you, did I mention it before? I'm not sure if I did. So I asked you about what you were excited about, and I talked about Soon as Star Wheel, didn't it? So just so that you are aware, events coming up through the course of this month. We have got, so I'm doing a little workshop. This is the first time I've run this workshop. It's called Chasing the Rainbow. And it is a workshop for people who, you know, like the heroes of the age is what I'm going to call it. You know, if you're thinking, oh, I'm not quite sure how to step up into this right now, then come to the workshop, because that will really help. It's for people who are like, yeah, I want to follow that calling of spirit, and I really want to follow that. I can feel it really strongly. I might not know where I'm going with it, but I want to follow it, and I want to be of service. You know, I want to offer real, tangible, substantive service to the people, to the planet, to my cause, whatever it is. I want to do that. And I also want to be okay. I want to be more than okay. I want to role model the life that I want people to have in the future. I want to be supported. I want to be nourished. I want to feel pleasure and play and joy, you know, all of the things. I want to have those things. I want to create my own version of success and then stand fully in that. You know, those three things. It can be really hard. That's like having three bosses all at once. We're going to talk about how to do that. You know? I'm going to talk about how to do that in the context of the 5 keys to the magical self. And I'm going to be talking about that. We're going to do a little bit of a workshop and how we can work around that. And I'm going to offer you an invitation to come and join me on the Amplify program, which is it's like the complementary program to Awaken. So Awaken is, you know, reclaiming your ancestral tradition, the northern tradition, going, yeah, this is mine. And Amplify is claiming your unique magical way of being in the world. Quite excited about that. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the Amplify program with that workshop as well. So that's a free workshop, and you just have to sign up to it, and it's out there, so you can come and join that. Amplify itself launches on Sunday. So if you're thinking, might be my time to do that, you have until Sunday to come and join. And I am doing a lovely workshop on the embodied runes next Tuesday. Really lovely. It's the first time I've done one as long as this, so we can get really deep into the energy of the runes. It's going to be delicious. So that is available in the shop for you to join up to. And then I've got the healer retreat coming at the end of our cycle with the Nornir. Then we'll have our healer retreat, which is part of the Amplify program, but you can also sign up to it separately if you're thinking Amplify. I'm not quite ready for Amplify yet, but I want to do some real work to reclaim my healer. Then you can come and do that. So those are my events coming up this month, which I'm very excited about. Let's talk stay and play runes. What runes are guiding you at this time in your life? Which runes are you working with? So you can draw a rune for the day, you can draw a rune for the week, you can draw a rune for your lunar month ahead. Share with me, you know, what are the runes that you're working with at the moment. And we'll finish our session now with our little bit of stay and play, and I'll do a little bit of reading for anyone who wants to share their rune. And then we will finish. Let's see what people have said. So Pamela is saying, interesting how connecting to our passion expression activates both Tyr and Loki. Yes, I think so. And sometimes with runic astrology in particular, I find that it is about navigating. It's about navigating through these energies, like finding the way to find the juicy power underneath some of the challenges that they offer. So it is really interesting. And Candice says it has been a lot, but it's definitely needed. Yes, definitely needed. You're absolutely right. Kristen has got in there. So Kristen has got Northirs. Candice has got Gibo. It came up twice in a row so far, so it's strong for you there, Candice. I can feel some... Interesting that we've had Northirs and then Gibo, so there's a balance thing going on there. Balancing, rebalancing, that's going on. Meggie has got Suello. Jason has also got Northirs. Excellent. So that's a strong rune for us. Okay, so let's have a little bit of a feel. I'll keep my eye. Pamela, you've got Manaz. Okay, I just don't want to miss anybody, so that's all. I'll keep an eye on my phone and we'll do the readings, and then I'll come back and see if anyone else has posted at this point. This is fun, isn't it? challenges of doing this one on my phone. So I told you the Northers and the Gibo, and let's have a look at them together. So I always think the Northers doing the Gibo rune is really interesting. I'm actually going to do Gibo first, because Gibo is earlier in the rune row than Northers. If you think about Gibo as being, it's the gift. It's the gift, it's the exchange, it's the oath, it's the promise. I'm going to take you all the way back to how we started the session, and I asked you about commitments. What commitments have you made that might feel too big, might feel too challenging? And what can you do about them? And that moment where you go, wow, commitment feels really big and I'm not moving forward on it, is the moment when Gibo transitions from Northers into from Gibo into an uncomfortable Northers energy. So not a powerful Northers energy, which is absolutely and entirely possible, but like the shadow challenger side of Northers. It's like this. I've made a commitment, I've made a promise, I've sewn it or woven it into the web of weird itself. You know, I've made this commitment. And at the time it felt brilliant, and I've got the warp thread and I've got the weft thread crossed, like the Gibo rune, and I seal it. With my seal, my marks, which are called the sacred mark, stood up in front of like Odin maybe and said, yes, I'm going to do this thing. And at the time it felt really good. And then you go, oh, it doesn't feel really good anymore. And it becomes Northers because it tugs. It's like one of the threads goes, ugh, and it starts to tug and it becomes knotted and tangled and difficult. So we either need to release that, or we need to say, okay, how can I move forward with that oath or commitment so that I don't get weighed down by it? So for you, Candice, this is, I would say, partially about maintaining a very close attention to what feels like a gift that you can receive and a reasonable amount for you to offer, so that you maintain the balance of the Gibo rune of receiving and giving. And when does it become too much? When does it move into the Northers rune? And when that happens, what can you do about it? And I want to add in at this point with Gibo that we have those things that we are aware of on the surface. And I asked you to really look at sort of surface stuff to say, okay, what floats up to the surface for me around commitments that I might have made myself out loud, you know, or in my diary or my journal, whatever it is that I now need to review. But there are Gibo runes running all the way through our energetic systems. Implicit promises that we've made to our families, to, you know, in order to be in this family, you must be in this way. No, and there's unless we unpack that, and at some point we go, oh, you know, Loki's jumping up and down a bit and saying, I don't like that. Now I need to go and I need to challenge that, and I need to untangle myself from that and say, okay, so everyone in my family, you know, we always eat apple strudel on a Sunday every single time, but now I'm gluten free. I'm going to have to say to my mother again, I love your apple strudel. I love it, and I can't eat it. You know, that obviously wasn't personal reference at all. Maybe not strudel, but certainly the gluten. There are promises that we don't even know are there around bonds of love and how we exchange with others and how we reinforce those relationships all of the time, and recognizing that sometimes those need to be renegotiated. There are promises that were made by our ancestors that we are still carrying in some way or another. Now, I do believe that there are so many people who are being born into the world right now who, for whatever reason, become the gateways or the receivers of old woundings, old past traumas that aren't ours but that need to be released. Sometimes I think it's almost because we are lucky. If you're here with me and we're having a lovely conversation right now, it means that you've got access to a computer, which means that, you know, you're in a privileged position. I know that there might be lots of other stuff going on for you right now. I'm not saying it's easy by any means, but in comparison with someone who's trying to make fire in order to, you know, find food, and, you know, has no access to no fresh water or anything like that, you know, we're in a very, very privileged position. And that can mean that spirit goes, well, that person has enough energy or enough capacity to deal with some of the stuff that has to be dealt with, that humanity is carrying and it's dragging it down. You know, so that can happen too. And that, you know, those Gibo runes, they can turn into Northers runes. So it's that real attentiveness to saying, well, what can I bring through at this point? So Candice, you've got your attentiveness to the Gibo rune and that real sort of attention of energy in the moment. For those of you who've received Northers, you might be looking at instinctive reactions, intuitive reactions that you go, oh, that was strong. Where does it come from? It might not even be mine. What do I need to do with it? Is this something that I've been given in order to release and let go of, and then I'm done? Or is it something that I need to do and change and reshape as I move forward? So there is an attentiveness, but it's a different type of attentiveness. It's saying, okay, when that person spoke, I felt it here, and I felt a tightening here. What do I need to do to go and release that from my energetic system at this point? Can happen with the Northeast rune. Is there anything else that wants to come through? Because I know quite a few of you had the Northeast rune. There is a not attached to the Giba, and I'm just putting the Giba into one side, because obviously Northeast stands in its own power as well. They're not just in relationship with each other. And there is it's bringing me back to that Tyr Loki relationship to a certain extent. It's saying, when you're feeling like, I don't know how to be myself, I don't know what that means, like it's telling me to do this thing and I don't even know how to do it. It's really annoying, one of those things. The Northeast rune can be really helpful for us in almost like lighting that need fire of saying, bring me the resources that I need to stand more fully in my power, to be that passionate, vehement, vigorous attuned to myself, that, I don't want to be anyone else because everyone else is taken, I want to be me. Now I feel as if the Northeast rune can bring that through for us as well at this point. And it's a recognition that when you do that, when you call in that Northeast energy, that need fire energy, you become the need fire itself. You become the flame that lights for others, and they go, wow, that person's epically, differently, brilliantly standing there, doing their thing, being okay with not everyone liking them all of the time, or, saying something that I actually disagree with, and yet I still respect them for it. We have to get to that point in our society where we're able to have different opinions and still respect each other while we work through them. We just have to, let's be a stand for that at the moment. So the Northeast rune is calling that forward. It's saying, if you're struggling to be in that energy of full selfhood, do your Northeast power song, wear it, bring it in, bring the energy in there. So, because I know that a few of you had that Northeast rune. So we've done Northeast, we've done Gibo. I'm going to do Suelo and Manas, and then I can see that, Pamela, you've got Urus, haven't you? And then we are going to finish unless anyone sneaks in under the radar. So Suelo and... I've just done that. It looks like an Ewaz. That's no good, Paula. You don't want me to do an Ewaz rune for you. There you go. I'm going to do Suelo and Manas together because, again, there's a resonance between them. We've discussed Suelo a little bit already. So we're talking about the sun, and the sun is going to go into Suna's chariot through the course of this month. There is with the Suelo rune, we've moved from Northeast, because Northeast is, again, earlier in the rune row. And we've worked all the way through that second date, which can be a deeply challenging 8 to work through. We've worked through Perth row, which is, we've done the Iwas, we've done the staff, we've done the balancing with Yara, we've done the storm, we've done all of the thing. And then Perth row is like that moment where you just go, oh gosh, I'm just going to let it all go, and I'm going to flow where the current takes me. It's that. And then as you're travelling through this Perth row energy, and you go, let go of it all and no idea what's happening, suddenly you realise that as you move your hands through the waters, or as you lean in your boat in the sail, suddenly it starts to catch the wind, and you go, oh, I'm moving. I'm moving, and it feels easeful, and it feels like it's the right direction suddenly. Suelo is that. There's a lightness to it, but a real knowing. It's that place of knowing that sometimes comes when we've let go of everything first. We've gone through I'm going to fight this just for the sake of it, this is uncomfortable and I hate it, and all of that. And we've gone, yeah. And yet it still is. Into the place of Suelo, where we get to feel centered and a bit sorted, and a bit like, okay, so I've surrendered to the waters, but they haven't consumed me. I'm still me. I'm moving through everything, but I'm still me doing that. And actually, when I let go of what I want to be and work with what is, then I have control. Then I can move forward. Then I can find my way, and the wind will catch my sails, as with the Swallow rune. So there is that recognition that as we move into, like Maggie, you will know, and we move into movement, and we move into dance, and we move into, the road it's a little bit like star navigation, that the road, the map may not tell us which direction to go in, or we might have to double back on ourselves. But when you've got the guidance of the stars or the sun, you can still be moving towards the horizon. The exact road that you might take might change. Swallow offers that adaptability in that moment to say, yeah, I'm going to adapt to this and I'm going to adapt to that, but my end goal remains the same. So I'm able to move with the current towards my end goal and not feel like I'm going backwards at this point. Okay, I'm going backwards at this point, but I still know where the horizon is, and I'll still make my way around slowly. That comes through with the Swallow rune. So the Swallow rune is that there is a sense of self and direction and purpose that comes with Swallow, and then that solidifies with Manas, which is in the third eight, which is the divine human. There is a centeredness there, where with Swallow there's still I'm following and I'm moving on the horizon, I'm trying this and I'm trying that. Manas is that person who's like, and this is my kingdom. I've seen what's on the horizon and I've decided to bring it to me and manifest it in the world around me right now. That's Manas. Saying, okay, so I see on the horizon a time when humanity will be kind, compassionate, deeply connected to our planet in ways that we can't even properly imagine right now. All of those things, I see them in the future. And Manas goes, and I'm just doing that now. In my realm, we do that now. I might not be able to do that outside of my four walls or outside of the realm that I control, but whatever sphere I influence, I'm going to do it now. It's the sovereign self. It's the sovereign self there. So it's really recognizing that the horizon that you feel exists in you. That's where the future is born. It's in you. So that's what comes through with the Manas rune. And then Pamela, you've got the Uruz rune. Which I'm feeling I might just sit here, Pamela, and enjoy the Uruz rune. This is Pamela Ross, by the way. So Pamela and Ashley with the Manas rune. I hope I got the right way around. And Pamela Ross with the Uruz rune. I just want to sit in the Uruz rune energy, if I'm honest, Pamela, and just absorb it. We're working with a whole month of the healer, and for me, I think that maybe that's just a little bit of engage your healer at this point. Comes through very strongly. That's the priority. There's a real call, I feel, Pamela, to recognizing that whatever that attunement or alignment is that I've been talking about for you, whatever that journey of being vehemently, passionately you, it includes Uruz within it. It includes that deep, healing, powerful connection to the earth, knowing that's yours. Whether you're talking to somebody else out there in the world, whether you're seated in quiet, like solitude and contemplation, all of those are you. And that's what Uruz draws you back into, is that real deep connection to have to be or do or anything like that. Just have to connect with that place that makes me feel at peace. If you've ever done the work of Martha Beck, she does a beautiful mantra she suggests for us. The mantra is, I am meant to be at peace. And it's about finding your truth. When you go, is this true, is this not true? And she says, when you do that mantra, I'm meant to be at peace. She said, I'm meant to be at peace. Because that's like the most truthful statement that we can ever say, which I quite like. And so it helps us to find that place of centre. So I would maybe try that one for yourself at this point, Pamela. Candy says, examples are always helpful. Gibai rune can be so heavy. It can. Yeah. And you want to find that lightness, don't you? Yeah. And I'm glad that you're finding the Star meditations helpful as well with that. Maggie says, yes. And Candy's just saying, you love that. The future comes from within. Yes, it does. And Pamela says, thank you. We have come to the end of Magic in Mind for this session. Thank you so much for joining me for our Seership new moon intention setting. So don't forget that piece around, what are those commitments that make you feel afraid or worried, or like it's too much or overwhelmed, and how can I work with them? How can I just take my one step forward? Don't forget to post on what are you celebrating, what are you excited about? What are you excited about? What's coming forward? So there's a bit of a retrospective, what am I celebrating? And then there's a bit of a what are my intentions? What am I excited about? What is the one step that I can take to bring that through? So share those. Thank you so much to all of you who have joined me live. We'll be back at normal time next week for Magic in Mind, for our first deep dive session into the Nornir. I can't wait to see you then. I hope that many of you will be able to come to the workshop tomorrow on Chasing the Rainbow. We want to chase the rainbow, and obviously the rainbow is the bridge between Middle Earth and the realm of the gods in the northern tradition. So it's there, it's waiting for us. It's been lovely to see all of you. Take care, and I'll see you all very, very soon.